Well, I guess that's progress, because it's on. This is the Tillotson block with the 3-inch sleeve installed. Left the sleeve installed. I'll take it apart in a second. I left the sleeve installed and cut a groove. The last video I made of this, I cut a groove in the head, but the groove in the head was in the wrong spot. I couldn't locate it. So day or so went by. Ended up staying late at work and said, let me just think about it, see what we can get done. So ended up being able to get that located. As you can see, it's on. It's got I put some studs in there just to bolt it on. So I was kind of like thinking like, all right, so how exact does that have to be? So I'm gonna get copper rings to put in between the sleeve and the groove. So I'll drop a ring into the groove in the head and then bolt it on, and that would be like the head gasket. Or put a copper O-ring into the groove and then also run a copper head gasket. And then if we were going to do it that way, it would have to be real precise, the depths. Because you'd probably want like an additional maybe 2/1000 to 5/1000 crush on the inner ring rather than the outer gasket. So you would have to play with the depths of them. But let me zap this off so you can see what I came up with. Hammer. That groove really kind of holds it. Let me drop something on the floor. All right, so there's the block. You see how, I don't know if you can really see it, but you see how it's sticking out, how the sleeve is sticking out, extended out of the deck right here? Normally that's flush. These two are flush, but this is sticking out like a ring. And what I've done is cut the okay. I was also cutting this and cutting this. I had noticed on the last one that I did, it was way up higher. Hold on, let me get the other one. Here's the last one I cut. You see how it's not located in the right spot? I couldn't get the bolts in. It was just not located right. This is located correctly. I've verified that with the head gasket. So normally this head gasket, when sitting on here, would sit over the sleeve. So this would technically be, if you scribe the line on the inside and then cut right on the outside of the gasket, that's where the sleeve is. So it's in the perfect spot, and I can bolt it on now. And it pulls down tight. I had to use a hammer even to bang it off. It was like really wedged on there. So this is a Tillotson head here. Tillotson head, Tillotson block. And this one, I just wanted to see how deep I could cut, because I noticed on this one that the ring was up higher, and somebody commented and said, that oil passage is kind of close. And then when I started looking at the head, I'm like, this has got to move down. It's going to be even closer to the oil passage. The oil passage runs it at an angle this way. So as this ring gets deeper, it's coming closer to that. So I wanted to see how deep I could cut it before it broke through. Now I haven't measured that yet. But I can measure that depth now. 0. Boop. 132 thousandths. What's this? 122. So this is a little bit deeper. So it doesn't need to be this deep. And then on top of that, we're gonna have a copper ring in here. So basically put like a copper O-ring, just drop it in there, take this, bolt it on, so there'll be copper between this and the groove and the head. So when you tighten it down, it won't be like steel and aluminum. It'll have some more crush and really get a nice form to it and be real tight. I don't even think it'll need the other like head gasket around it. What I would do, I was thinking, they don't offer head gaskets that size, so probably have to get a copper. This is just an old one that I had off a customer's engine that I replaced. But this sleeve here, you could take it and just open it up with a carbide or a sand roll. It would take a long time. Probably would have to even look in, maybe the company that's going to make the rings will also make some head gaskets. I haven't looked into it. I Googled it a little bit earlier, but I haven't got deep into it yet. Getting there. But yeah, it's coming along. I like it. I'm real happy. This is going to be how I'll probably end up doing everything from now on. Once you can do it, if it's going to be better, it's just how I'm going to do it. So that kind of really locks in there. Has a little gap now. You can see through. But when I torque down the bolts, that's snugged all the way up to basically 0. I had to go around torquing them evenly because it was like wanting to, pull. Like I was noticing this corner was coming down faster than that corner, so I just took my time and went around and then kind of looked at it, tighten this one, tighten that one, until it all pulled down nice to the block. Just took my time with it. But yeah, this is pretty cool. And this won't affect zero deck or anything like that. See, this is really stuck on there. It's really gets stuck on there, and I didn't even torque that on enough. I just pushed it on there. It's nice and tight. I like that. It might not even need that copper ring. That might even seal up the compression just like that. This aluminum's pretty soft compared to steel, and it's a real thin surface. It's a thin area pressing. That probably applies a lot of PSI. Such a small area, and you're putting big torque way out here, and it's all that torque is going on to such a thin area. The pressure there, I would think, would be very high, way higher than spreading it out over the whole head gasket. I think just that interlocking, like fire groove type ring thing, I don't know what I would call it, I haven't named it yet. I think that would be very effective. So, pretty cool. Still not perfect. But I still haven't got that tooling. Expensive tooling, man. You call even companies like MSC Direct that are like Paulskarts, like, I sell ARC stuff, NR racing stuff, EC stuff. Like, NR might only sell NR stuff. EC might only sell EC stuff, like their manifolds and stuff. I'll sell all the stuff, just like a hot rod shop. But, if it's cool, I'm going to stock it. But, like, when I called MSC Direct, that's a pretty crazy company. They got a lot of part numbers, and they still couldn't help me find out everything I needed to make this cut. It took 3 different phone calls over the course of 3 weeks just to get set up a real nice tooling, and the tooling's expensive. You're talking about over $1,000. And that's not even including like the mill or anything. That's like just the cutting head and the ram, which is like the bar that, you know, you can calibrate the width on, and then the tool holder, and then the carbide, and you need the carbides, and you have to have them actually custom made, which is crazy because they're so thin. This is too thick actually, so it'll even be tighter. This is just, I'm using this on some shit setup I made. You know, even the shit setup I made cost me $500 worth of stuff. But the stuff I'm getting next is gonna be like Class A. Dial in any groove. So yeah, this groove is thick. I got a 60 thousandths cutter, which might be a little wide, and it's cutting at an angle, so it's dragging. And this is actually 90 thousandths wide, and it doesn't need to be. So when this gets thinner, it's going to grab on this sleeve even more. It's going to be real tight. Real nice. So, well, that's the progress. You know, I might even sell just this block in his head. If anyone's interested in it, hit me up with a PM. Tillotson block, Tillotson had the heads grooved, 3-inch block, sleeve extended. Probably work just like this, you know, or it's something to work with. That's how a lot of racing stuff is. You got to modify it for your own needs, but this is a lot of stuff to get you there. But yeah, man, Paul from Paulskarts, moving forward, trying to get this thing figured out. Like